at least more so. Both within the 30-ish minute range, 35-ish minute range, thereabouts. And the race has begun. So for those of you just joining now that the race has actually begun, hello, I am Punchy, I'll be your host for today. I'm just about starting the prologue. You cannot dash just yet, so they are jumping. Jumping, it saves frames, but it can be surprisingly difficult to jump many times, and I haven't seen anyone die in the prologue yet, but, like, it's gonna happen one of these days. Someone will do it. Seems like Hornlitz is a little faster out of the prologue. Just a little bit. Just a little bit there. Maybe half a second or something. Alright, so moving into City. This is where Celeste really begins, because now you can dash. Quick primer on dashing. You dash in a direction, you go fixed distance, but dashing into jumps carries momentum into your jump, and you can combine that with various sort of directions and styles to, like, dash against walls, to jump off walls, and get momentum off your dashes against the floor, and all that sort of wonderful thing. Ooh, Davesterio whiffing the block jump. A few seconds of disadvantage. Hornlitz continuing as though it's no problem. Bear almost died on that one, just barely didn't hit the spikes. A spicy play. Davesterio getting over that same jump. A similar degree of closeness. Landing on the block without triggering it in order to get a wall jump there, Hornlitz. That's an advanced kind of strat that only saves like a slight amount of time, but Hornlitz is a top-ranking kind of player, so people will go for that sort of thing. Hornlitz is... Oh yeah, actually, this is worth pointing out. Hornlitz has the world record IL for the first stage of this game, so like wow, Hornlitz! Going for that in the... Oh, tragic, missing the last jump. That was actually looking really good. Hornlitz's stage of specialty is stage 1. He has the world record for this IL with a time of 59 seconds. He is below a minute. He's the only person who's done that. So, like, it is no surprise that Hornlitz takes the lead on stage 1. He is literally the best player of that level in the entire community. The rest of the levels, that's where it could get more interesting. The Hornlitz's performance in stage 1 really speaks for itself. What a player. I love him. Alright, and we see them, Hornlitz here using... Ooh, mistiming that and dying. Nevertheless, a quick death, so it's not too big of a deal. You can dash against the floor and regain your dash before you jump again, and you can use that to clear large spike gaps like that. Davesterio missing the jump like that, but recovering with a spike jump off the top of that block there. Very clever move from Dave. You see, this game has a thing where if you jump off the very corner of the top of a block, you get slightly further, and you need to do that in order to recover that situation that Dave was just in. Very prescient move. I'm impressed with that awareness. I like it, because I don't do that right sometimes. Anyway, Hornlitz is in the battle line section. He's about a good, like, 10 or 20-ish seconds ahead. Badalin copies the player's inputs. She's about 3 seconds behind, so every time you do crazy speed strats, Badalin will adapt accordingly. She has no such limitations. So you have to plan around that one going quickly. Hornlitz doing the reverse dash there to get through the dream block. You can also do dashes in one direction and then reverse them in the other in order to keep your dash, and thus, like, do hyper dashes when you don't technically have enough space to do it. There's an advanced kind of technique, but it is a thing. Hornlitz clearing the bad line chase in good time. Dave getting through the bad line chase section, with baiting the Badalin away from himself. With a clever high dash jump. That's his technique for that section. I rate it. Hornlitz clearing stage 2. On the final section. The movement in the final section can be deceptively tricky, despite the fact there's nothing here that can actually kill you. So, like, I'm interested to see how he handles this. Solid. Solid jumps. This should be a sub 2 for Hornlitz. 156. A solid performance. It's not just stage 1 that he's good at. Only 1 death. And it was a relatively inexpensive one, so no big deal. See, this is where the movement I'm saying on this section can be surprisingly tricky. Dave accidentally hitting the springs rather. The springs will null your speed, so you want to avoid that. 207. Old site for Dave. Hornlitz entering the third stage resort. Is that going to make it? Oh, it did make it, but he packed out of it. Unfortunate for Hornlitz. I don't think he trusted himself enough on that one. His setup was weird, but nevertheless, it kind of worked. Alright, how does he handle this opening cycle? Taking it a little bit slow. Perhaps not confident in the fastest strat. It is quite risky, and if you die, it hurts, so, I'm not surprised. Ooh, whiffing the dash jump there, so getting a slower speed and not quite getting through that cycle, but that's okay. Normally mistakes like that can prove to be fatal, but he adapted quite quickly to that little error. Celeste is a game of tiny optimizations like that, so if you make a slight mistake on the fly, the good players can kind of, make it work anyway. They will make it so, as a man succinctly put it once. And Dave, not terribly far behind here. Through Celestial Resort. Celestial Resort is a stage primarily based around cycles, which is what can separate times by quite a lot at this stage. Celestial Resort is one of the longer levels in the early game. Ooh, Dave, face planting a dusty guy. He's doing the advanced strat by dashing along the platforms here, but as with advanced strats that require cycles, if you fail them, you have to kind of exit the room and then re-enter if you're not familiar with the strat on a death cycle, because dying in a room and then respawning will result in the Dust Boys being on a different cycle than they would otherwise normally be. So if you don't know death cycle strats, you have to leave the room and re-enter, which costs you more time than a normal death would. Which can be very punishing in this stage in particular. Cycle-based gameplay, am I right? Bouncing off the back then, keeping good track of his cycles. Hornlitz on the ball. Getting over those dust guys. On the right cycle, see, Hornlitz is keeping a terminal there, I don't like that. Corner. Jumping off a corner can lose your speed. He tried to dash jump off a corner and got terminal. I call it a terminal. No one calls it that. I'm sorry. That's a quirk of my commentary. And Hornlitz has hit the first button in Resort while Dave is starting to enter the first button path. So about a 20-second separation between our two players right now. Hornlitz entering the upper path. Okay, ooh, Dave making the cycle as well. A little bit uncertain, but if you make the cycle, it's all good. There's a spike jump from Dave. Ooh, whiffing the spike jump and taking one death for it. No big deal. A spike jump can be performed by approaching the corner of a column of spikes and jumping off the corner, because if you're moving away from spikes, they don't kill you. That's an intentional programmed mechanic in order to allow you to pass through spikes and also to allow for some sort of leniency in whether or not you get killed by things. But that can be abused for speed purposes, and this is one of those intentional little things. Hornlitz also making quick work of the laundry section here. I call it the laundry section because there is laundry. I think this is a fair analysis. Oh, Davesterio unsure of his cycles. He was unsure of that wall jump and thus died. That's what happens if you slightly hesitate on your cycles and aren't quite sure of what you're doing. You will die. This section, Celestial Resort, is quite punishing. Very punishing. See, Dave not quite getting the jump he wanted there. So again, having to wait for the dash gem to respawn to be sure of himself. So Hornets coming up on the other section. I don't know what to call this one, I'm sorry. The part after the buttons. Getting the Ultra into the button room. The Ultra is when you perform a hyper dash, which is performed by dashing and then crouching, and then performing another dash straight down, so the momentum applies multiplicatively, so you gain a lot of speed going down, and it can technically chain without limit. It's just prohibitively difficult for people to do that. You can get it a couple times as a person. People are unfortunately less good at video games than robots. It's a sad reality of the modern age. And Hornlitz progressing relatively smoothly through Resort. Suffered some minor deaths, but nothing too, deal-breaking. So now Hornlitz is on the Oshiro section. And Oshiro is a giant ghosty dude who likes to eat you. And as a result as well, this also places Celestial Resort on a heavily cycle-based endeavor, because Oshiro is an omnipresent threat who activates on a timer. So again, if you slightly hesitate or things go a little bit wrong, you can die quite easily, and Oshiro's screens are quite long, so this whole level, again, quite punishing. The Hornlitz so far has managed to avoid making costly errors on this section. Hitting the spring. Perhaps this is his preferred method. He didn't hesitate, so either he knew what to do or that's his preferred strategy. Alright, how's the final room gonna go for it? See, that's a problem. The final room, dying like that immediately puts the whole room on Death Cycle, and Death Cycle is uncomfortable. So let's see how Hornlitz responds to this. He's been thrown off his game a little bit by some of these errors, but how does he handle it? A good response from that, going up, and it was off cycle. 5:16 is a respectable resort time. He responded well. See, that's the mark of someone who knows what's what, is when they make the slight errors, they don't panic like that. They just get on with it. They make it work. Davesterio sticks to what he knows there, not going for the above cycle, because again, it saves like no time, and if you fail it, you die. Knowing, being confident in what you do is also another like key element of racing this game. Going for things that are risky, saving like half a second, but lose you like 10 if you fail them. Don't. See, Davesterio trying for the fast strat there, but terminaling on that little corner there. That's unfortunate, and again, it makes the cycles very difficult to deal with. Oh, but Dave, he seems he knows what he's doing. He's regained his composure for that cycle and advances smoothly for the back half of that room. Well done to Dave. Back to Hornlitz on Golden Ridge, face-planting into the void off the disappearing red cloud. Golden Ridge has wind, it pushes against you. It's pretty much how it does what it looks like. But Ridge also has bubbles that you can like fire yourself in a direction. But Hornlitz going for the risky like jump out of the switch there. That saves again not very much time, and there he just goes over like the intended method. Because he had already lost, like, too much time doing it. It's not worth it if you die once, let alone if you die twice. Ouch! That's an unfortunate missed dash jump. That one can be quite costly, because the setup to retry is against harsh wind, and going against harsh wind is never good. Good life advice, that. Never go against harsh wind. And there, Hornlitz skipping much of the section, using a well-placed corner jump there, off the spikes. Super wall bouncing into the next room over. Off the wall of spikes, because again, that forgiveness is present, allowing you to do skips of that nature. Davesterio went for the spike jump, the little mini jump around the spikes out of the switch room, and actually got it first try. Dave, not afraid of the harder stuff as well. He goes for that sort of thing. So Dave, making up a bit of ground there. He spent some time setting it up, but he did get it. Well done to Dave. Struggling with this corner spike jump, though. See, he's playing on Switch, that I know, and that thing is actually, like, more difficult on console due to control winding things, so I'm not tremendously surprised by that. Unfortunate. Hardware differences, ain't it a thing? Nevertheless, what is Dave's technique for the auto-scroller block skip? Does he perform it safely, or will he do a dash strat? He does the normal kind of dashing jump strat. Still quite difficult to perform, and saves time itself. Hornet's made it to the middle point of the of Golden Ridge, the auto-scroller room thing, at about 2:10, which is decent pace. Doing that risky jump there to the spikes to save a few, like a second, maybe, at most. Oh, Hornet's cycle might be a little bit off here. No, just about makes the cycle on the wind room at the top there, so he makes it into the final windy section, the heavy windy section. The section's all about the wind, don't you know? And again, this ending section also quite cycle-based because of snowballs that appear on the next screen for Hornlitz. They spawn in from the edge of the screen, they fly in a straight line, like reverse Oshiro, essentially, but you can bounce off them, or they can also bounce off Oshiro. And that happens if your cycle gets confused, you die. And again, much like Celestial Resort, the ending of Golden Ridge screens tend to be quite long, so deaths like that are punishing. So taking it safe, going the above route, because like failing that sort of thing kills you. Immediately going for the third spring. No fear. No fear on this one. Not at all. Everyone's got different ways of doing these rooms, and I find it really interesting. Oh, Davesterio, he didn't quite have no confidence in his neutral jumps, that one. A neutral jump is a technique where by pressing nothing against the wall, you can jump infinitely without stamina. So if you run out of stamina early, knowing how to neutral jump is a good way to kind of save yourself from bad positions. And Hornlitz clearing Golden Ridge in about 3:20-ish. That's 3:31, actually. I can't read streams. Excuse me. Dave getting the strat where he hits the bubble, gets in front of the block. Hornlitz also hit it, but I did not comment it. So let's see how Dave performs on this room here. Hornlitz suffered some deaths on this, so Dave could make up some ground on this one. Face planting the snowball, the cycles. The cycles are acute. It's a difficult room. It's a difficult room. I do not blame anyone for dying on it. Dave also advancing directly to the third spring. I should copy that. So meanwhile, Hornlitz, in the beginning of Mirror Temple, getting that corner boost around there, going straight for the key. A corner boost is a boost off a corner, hence the name. But it's quite particular about where you have to hit the corner in order to perform it, so like they're not trivial. They're not trivial to perform. They were also like introduced fairly recently with a patch, because they were an unintended side effect of fixing a different kind of bug. What is Hornlitz attempting to do here? I'm actually not sure. He goes for this? Ah, he goes for that. He goes for the big block launch. Doesn't quite get the corner boost though. But like, he goes for that. I don't go for that. That's risky. Oh, falling down. Didn't quite make the jump there. Didn't quite climb. Hornlitz taking the secret route to save time. And Davesterio finishing off Golden Ridge at 4:16. So about a minute of differential there between the two players. I do not know what their typical paces are like. Hornlitz entering the monster mirror bit-ish of Mirror Temple at about 125. It's a decent pace. So we get to briefly control a monster and dash around as a monster. The monsters can't dash in normal gameplay, but you can dash when you are one. It's fun. Davesterio getting that dash jump through the middle there. You're supposed to take a bubble through, but you can just not if you time a dash well. Unfortunately, dying on the cycles in the next room over. Cycles are also important in Mirror Temple to some extent in the opening section because of the moving saw blades and what have you. But now, Hornlitz on the Awakening section, Seekers will begin to show up, these little fisheye dudes. They follow you around, they seek, hence the name. And you can bounce off their heads, and also they can activate switches with their death animations, and also their bodies, which is useful for strats like that Hornlitz just did. By jumping in such a way as to lure the Seeker into hitting the middle switch, and then hitting the top one himself, thus saving time. Getting the bong, ooh, just barely missing the switch with the Seeker's, like, direct body hit. But getting it with the explosion, so, like, it's not too costly, but, like, very close to just hitting it straight on with the switch. So you kill the Seeker here, you leave it there, and then it will activate that switch with the explosion while you sort out the rest in the room. Convenient, right? Ooh, the Seeker, popping around the corner to say hello to Hornlitz. Deaths like that, costly. Long room. Seekers, have quirks like that. Ooh, Hornlitz, getting revenge, confidently bopping him. A confident bop. Dave also advancing, reaching the mirror. At around 142-ish. Thereabouts. 145, yeah. So now Hornlitz is going to perform a trick called Search Skip. Search Skip is a prominent trick in runs. People do, it's this jump right here. That jump saves about, I don't know, few minutes. You do it by just doing a regular, directed reverse dash jump over that hole. And thus you skip having to get keys, and thus you save many minutes. It's not too difficult of a trick, but it's not, like, totally trivial either. If you don't know it's there, then you won't ever think to do it. But once you know about the advanced mechanics, it becomes a fairly, like, logical conclusion. And now Hornlitz on the Theo escort section. Theo is trapped in a crystal. You can carry this crystal and throw it at things. If you dash into it, just like Hornlitz just did there, if you dash into it while, like, letting go of it upwards, you can get a sort of weird boost off the crystal, which launches you further upwards, allowing you to get further heights than you otherwise would off single dashes, allowing you to lob the crystal at switches like that, letting you advance much easier through the section. Also, you can just boost off enemies in the regular kind of way. In such a way. Davesterio performing... I don't agree with that one, but Davesterio trying to get this jump off this enemy and getting repeatedly killed for his trouble in ways that look suspicious to me, but nevertheless. Third try's the charm. Hornlitz getting the big launch off that one. Straight into the room, but not quite landing on the block with the jump there, so he got launched away, but Theo got launched upwards, but he reacted well. He fixed the situation quickly. See, Hornlitz very good at that, I'm noticing. Things go wrong, but he repairs the situation relatively quickly. getting that crystal boost once more, heading into the end of Mirror Temple. So there's psychic waves that blast from this eye at the end of the screen, and you can dash through them with proper timing. So that one was ever so slightly too early, so... Hornlitz clearing Mirror Temple in about 5 minutes. Ish. 5:13. Not too many deaths on Mirror Temple for Hornlitz. Only 2. So now he enters Reflection, while Dave continues to bring it up here, heading into the end section of Mirror Temple. So Hornlitz is entering Reflection, which means he has to deal with feathers. Feathers are a fun mechanic. You control them... The way he's moving them belies that he's doing this with an analog stick, because there are many ways to control feathers. The fastest way is with an analog stick, because if you turn too quickly, and there's no way to not turn too quickly with a D-pad or a keyboard, because they're only like 4 directions. Hornlitz preferring to play it safe, not going for lake skip here, going for the regular block skip. Lake skip is only faster if you get it like first try, and it only saves like 5 seconds. So I do not. I can understand that decision in a race. I wouldn't do it in a race, but people do it, and they do save time with it. I'm getting an unfortunate misdirected dash there. Waiting for the block to come back, though. Not suiciding immediately. Patient. The right decision, I think. Oh, bonk. Oh, almost a save. Not quite there. Good instinct, though, from Hornlitz. Trying to save the situation. I think I got interrupted while I was explaining feathers. If you turn too quickly on a D-pad or keyboard, you lose speed. Analog stick doesn't. That's why it's faster. Sorry, my train of thought, like, goes places. And Hornlitz doing the skip here with neutral jumps. So you don't consume stamina with that last jump if you hold neutral. The block bonking on the invisible air, not quite getting that block out of the way in time. That skip is difficult. The hitbox of the falling block lingers for way, way longer than you think it would, so you need to get there, like, early. The early block catches the skip, as I think the proverb goes. And Davesterio coming up on the end of Mirror Temple. Advancing through. Getting a bit hung up on these psychic waves, waiting patiently for that one, trying to reset the situation. There we go, landing the hit at 5:47. Well, Hornlitz advances relatively smoothly through Reflection. Ooh, stalled himself there in order to prepare for the bumpers. Bumpers are an interesting mechanic. You need to be very precise with where you hit them. If you're like slightly out, it can bounce you in a totally undesirable direction and probably just kill you. You don't want that. So you have to, like, control yourself, pace yourself appropriately. Dashing into blocks or willy-nilly must be done with care. And also, this bumpers have a mechanic where if you're holding into the direction where you want to be launched on the frame that it hits, you get a bigger launch, which means you need to, like, rapidly switch directions to dash into them and then hold the other way. And that can be easy to make errors on, which Hornlitz is not doing. Hornlitz hitting the feather cycle skip there. If you hit a feather before your current feather expires, it just keeps going. In some places, you're clearly not, like, super meant to be able to do that, but if you're very quick and elegant with your movement, you can make it so. Alright, how will Hornlitz handle the big room? This room has a number of, like, dev-intended shortcuts, like this one. He's doing the full shortcut. The thing with this, like, whole shortcut thing through the spikes is that if you die, you will go back to the beginning of the room because the intended route has a checkpoint. Or, like, the more conventional route, I should say. Like, these are dev-intended holds, they're not unintended. But nevertheless, the conventional route checkpoints in the middle of the room, the skip route doesn't, so if you die at the end, it's very punishing. So will Hornlitz go for Badline boost? He's setting up for it, I can see. He's going for the big boost. Will he hit it? Will he go all the way? Will he make it? Yes, he will! Hits it perfectly, Hornlitz, with the splendid Badline boost. So that is where, if you hyper dash on a moving block multiple times and jump, the speed starts stacking multiplicatively, so you can get a huge boost. And you start going so fast it becomes, like, difficult to control. But Hornlitz nailed it perfectly there. Oh, just about miss... Oh! Awkward dash directions, but again, repairing the situation quickly. Going past bad light, that always makes me laugh, I shouldn't. But it does. It's just kind of comical. So again, bad line also quite cycle-based. Throws balls and stuff. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing. See, Hornlitz bounced around the balls there, because he knew it was a little bit too slow to catch that cycle. Whether that's his preferred way of doing it. Ooh, didn't quite get the dash jump there, so died to the laser cycle. An unfortunate turn of events. Well, Dave navigating the bumpers using the one-frame direction boost thing. I don't know what to call that. Ooh, Dave, eating a death on the feather room. Unfortunate. It's a long room. But it can be easy to die. See, Dave's still not quite making that cycle skate. It's tighter than it looks. It looks like you just kind of fly into it, but you need to fly quite meaningfully in order to get through. Hornlitz, I think, delaying that dash just a little bit to not get killed by the laser cycle. A prescient play. Otherwise, smooth sailing. See, there a slight delay there again from Hornlitz to not get killed by the laser cycle. Trusting that, rather than like trying to rush it and getting killed. He has a firm grip of his own sense of time. See, that's what I was talking about. See, Dave has done the conventional route through that big room, and as such he has checkpointed. Or at least he has gone to the point where the checkpoint activates after doing the skip. I didn't see it. But nevertheless, that's a safer way to do it if you're not confident in getting that drop the first try. Whereas if you don't activate that checkpoint, dying will send you all the way back to the beginning of that room, and it's like quite a big one, so eh. Ooh, getting slightly caught on that little wall there. Killing Hornlitz, but not a big loss. A small death. Only a few seconds. And Dave starting the Badline fight. I didn't see if he did Badline boost or not, I'm very sorry. So they're both in the Badline fight now, but Hornlitz is on the last couple screens of the Badline fight, whereas Dave has just begun it. So there is a substantial lead on the part of Hornlitz at the moment. Again, Hornlitz delaying himself just a little bit to catch a cycle that he's more comfortable with, I feel. That seems to be his style of play. And I can respect it. It's getting results in this race, I can tell you that much. He's not dying terribly much, and when he is dying, it's not expensive. That seems to be Hornlitz's way of being. Dave hitting the cycle, taking that cycle slower in order to not die. So again, if you're not confident with it, don't do it. That's what I would say. And Hornlitz clearing Reflection at a spicy 629. It's not half bad. Again, a small number of deaths per stage, like not too many. Hornlitz quite consistent. Dave dashing in entirely the wrong direction and getting killed. Mix-up there. I think he got a bit confused. I think he landed a bit weird. And thus was unsure. So again, getting flustered and dying is a thing in this game. If you make minor errors, you have to be able to fix yourself quickly. Because if you hesitate on screens like that, you just die. That's one of the things that tends to separate top players. Is their ability to quickly react to, like, minor goofs. And Hornlitz on Summit here. Ooh, unfortunate, catching the edge of those spikes. Spring hitboxes are a thing. It's quite small. Springs have a rather small hitbox, which means landing on them rather than the spikes is more of a finer art than it looks. I am sympathetic to this. I run this game too. I have my own quibbles. Everyone does. But we love this game all the same. So Summit is like a collection of all the gimmicks on each stage to that point. So here we have the section that mimics Forsaken City with its like moving zipper blocks that grant momentum. And Dave coming up on the last screen of the... this is not the last screen, it's like the second to last screen. The second to last screen of the Badline fight. Bringing it up here. Well, Hornlitz makes his way through Summit. Hornlitz with a fairly decisive lead at this juncture. Summit can be a game changer. It's a long level and like a high degree of practice on it does show. In fact, Summit is about like 33% of the run because it's so long, despite being like one of 7 levels in the run, but it's 33% of the game. Math. Hornlitz preferring to just dash downwards in diagonals rather than performing dream hypers, which are like hyper dashes out of dream blocks. And again, I do not blame him for that because they can be tricky, and if you mess them up, you usually die. And dying is more... No, he goes for the hyper off that one. Shut my mouth. He heard me. Heard me talking like he wouldn't find out. Oh, Hornlitz is really going for those Dream Hypers. Heard me talking like he wouldn't find out. Saves that time. Again, risky that. Because if you fail those, you tend to die. But he's going for them, and he's saving time for it. A good ult-side section from Hornlitz there. And now Dave has also made it to the summit, and he's only a scant 2-ish sections behind. Or is it like 3? I think it's 3. And now Hornlitz on the 1,500 meter section, and just like Celestial Resort itself, very cycle-based, heavily cycle-based. Screens, some of these screens are the most punishing in the whole game, if one doesn't quite make the cycle. Like this room in particular, this is a long room, and it's a frightening one if you beef it. And Hornlitz, he's taking it safer. He's going for the slower, but still like quite fast-ish cycle. I respect it. There's like a very fast strat on that, but if you fail, and it's quite easy to fail, then you can lose like 10 seconds, and it's like not generally desirable to do that in one room, unless you're very, very confident about it. But otherwise, Hornlitz's play through the 500 meter section is very solid, and as soon as I say that, doesn't quite get the wall bounce off the right edge there. Again, Hornlitz knows what he's doing. See, he died once, but being on the death cycle didn't seem to phase him. He just quickly fixed it. He quickly made it work. It's a good quality of good Celeste players. Is not being phased too much by things like that. You can get rattled very easily when you get thrown off your rhythm. Hornlitz does not seem to get rattled too much. Dave taking the block up. Oh, a costly death there at the end of that long room. That's a bummer. The snowballs return with a vengeance. So this is auto-scroller skip the Hornlitz is doing. I don't think that's going to make it. Oh, no, it just about did. It just about did. Hush my mouth again. Just about. Getting a good launch there off that block requires fairly exact timing. A difference of a few frames can make a huge difference in how much distance you get. It's not, like, totally impossible to make it with, like, a not great launch, but you do at least need, like, an okay-ish launch in order to make it. Like, there's room for error. It's not super precise, but a bad launch will kill you. And obviously failing auto-scroller is, not a good one. You don't want to fail an auto-scroll skip. Hurts. Getting through that little gap there. Not bouncing off the wall. While Dave coming up on the end of the old side section. It's relatively close between the two. Although Hornlitz still has a rather decisive lead. So this section, Hornlitz is again in the Mirror Temple section of Summit, and again, just like Mirror Temple, you have the blocks that move when you dash, and you can get Hypers off them like that, a very strong, like, dashing into the moving block there to get his dash back again to jump off. Ooh, dying on key skip. Unfortunate. Getting those 2 jumps. If you time it slightly late, you'll die because you'll jump off and hit, like, your head on spikes, and that is generally not ideal. Davesterio not quite getting the fast ultra strat there, so you're doing 2 ultras into the cycle, and then, oh, again, just a whiff. He was too far out. He didn't quite hit the platform. This strat is punishing if you fail, and that time he was actually too fast for it. That annoys me. Anyway. See, that strat, I'm pleased that he goes for it because it's a cool strat, but if you fail it, it's very costly. It's a big room, and you have to reset the cycle to attempt it again, but it's so fast. 1,500 meters is so punishing. You hate to see that kind of thing happen. Oh, okay, Hornlitz making it there. He got a bit... there was a visible bit of confusion about, like, not reaching the top of those blocks there, I feel. But he made it work again. Now Hornlitz on 3,000 meters with a decisive lead. Hornlitz should be able to clean this one up, provided there are no major sticking points, although 3,000 meters does have some, like, killer points. There are some long flags at the end here. Every flag is a checkpoint. Some people don't take the checkpoints. Those people are spicy. I ain't spicy. Don't be skipping flags. It's bad for your health. See, he don't skip that flag. I respect it. And that's why you don't skip the flag. Because he accidentally caught the corner of that spike there, but it was okay, because he got the flag. Oh, not quite making it into that alcove, but again, climbing up. Rectifying the situation. Davesterio on Golden Ridge auto-scroller skip here. See, the block was low. That might not make it. Yeah, no, that didn't make it. The block was low. The launch wasn't so good, because he did it a bit too early. That's what happens if you, like, you don't do it late enough. That looks much better. That one will make it. Yes. There you go, Dave. Just illustrating the auto-scroller skip. Hornlitz getting flag 18, using his dash early. That one is a flag people normally skip. But he had to land there in order to make up for it. Advancing through the longer flags like this. This section has one of the longer flags. Is flag 14 and 13 are very long back-to-back flags. And they're not like the toughest flags, but it's very easy to die on them. Which makes a death on this super punishing right at the end. Especially this jump right here. Oh, he dashes into it and up. Oh, very risky. That can be difficult to get the line up properly. Doing the nooch jump around the spikes on the wall there. Hornlitz showing us some tech in 3,000 meters. While Dave, coming up on the Mirror Temple section, not too far behind. Only one precious section behind. Face planting the spike, not quite having the line up. Hornlitz on flag 7. Skipping the bottom row of the spikes there, doesn't need them. Why would anyone need such a thing? Davesterio, getting a weird bounce off that, but rectifying quickly. Dave, again, making the situation right. With remarkable, swiftness of thought. I would not be able to repair a situation that quickly. I get flustered. John Hornlitz on the last couple of flags here in 3,000 meters. Flag 3. Will he go for the jump around the block? He will. Take some time in setting it up, though. This is remarkably close to Hornlitz's actual PB, by the way. According to chat, which I trust, Hornlitz's PB is 34.09. In fact, I think he told me this before the race, actually. And this is going to be close for him. It won't quite get there. Don't skip flag 1, my boy. Hornlitz. It will be close. It will be close for Hornlitz, but not quite a PB. But very consistent performance from Hornlitz all throughout. 34.15. They rolled over to 16 there. Stop making my commentary invalid as I say it. That's annoying. 34.16 from Hornlitz. A very close to his PB within 7 seconds. Good one. A 9:38 summit is very comparable. And Dave coming up on 3,000 meters here. Well done to Hornlitz, winning that race with a strong performance. Coming very close to his PB. Only 24 deaths, a scant few deaths. Very well done. Dave going for the invisible wall jump strat. Not quite getting the second wall jump, but repairing the situation again. See, Dave's PB is 37.40, so again, Dave has potential to PB here, depending on how this 3,000 meters goes. See, Dave skips the flag. Dave is spicy. And he didn't die. Spicy Dave. I'm pleased by that. I forgot to mark the stream as done. Excuse me. Oh, stuck in a bad situation. How will Dave handle it? Patience. Waiting. There he goes. He waited for the blocks to respawn there. Fix the situation quickly. Again, clarity of thought. I probably would have just smashed reset. Smash that reset button if you up, etc, etc. Now he's coming up on the longer flags. What's his strat here? He goes for the strat where he gets the 2 dashes off the crystal, dashing into it. I don't actually know if that's faster. I timed them, it worked out the same. Skipping that flag by just not quite getting close enough to it. Meaningless, but funny. Dave showing us some new things here. Oh, going for the straight dashes over the spikes. Taking his time to line that one up. Does he go for the neutral jump around this way? Yes, he does. And Dave advancing cleanly through the section, not dying terribly much on the longer flags. In fact, I don't think he died at all. Deaths on these flags can be very, very costly. So it is better to not, even if it takes you like a couple seconds to like sort your lineups out. Not quite getting the cloud, but you have 2 dashes there, so it's okay. Skipping flag 5. Again, pointless but funny. That one checkpoints anyway, regardless of whether or not you hit the flag. So people always skip flag 5 because it's totally meaningless. It's just nice aesthetics, you know? Can't skip a flag like that. Skipping flag 3. This could be interesting. He did not trigger flag 3. Please don't die. Oh, Dave. You're making me nervous with that low climb. Okay, he's made it. He's triggered flag 2. This, again, is going to be quite close to Dave's PB, because Dave's PB is a 3740, according to speedrun.com. If that's up to date, I don't know. I'm going to assume it is for this purpose. So Dave also very close to his PB. It should be within, like, about 7 seconds? 9? Something like that? Within 10. 3750, again, very close to his PB. Both players coming within seconds of their PB in this race. A consistent performance from both players. Well done to both our racers. That was exciting. Well done. Very well done to both of you. Let's see Dave's death count here. Doing the epilogue. Let's compare. 38, somewhat more than Hornlitz. But nevertheless, still remarkably close to his PB. At least assuming his PB is accurate. I'm going to assume it is. Just for the sake of exciting. It's more fun that way. Congratulations to Hornlitz for winning. But a strong performance from both players. Both definitely showing that they have consistency on their sides. Hey.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Yo, GG's, man.
Yeah, it was a really good race.
Got yourself a nice 34 there. Holy crap.
Yeah, I was okay. I'm gonna be honest here. I was not expecting that in the slightest. Like, once I got to chapter 7, I was like, this is gonna be like a high 35.
You were very close to the PB. You were both very close to PB, I think. Is your PB on speedrun.com accurate, Dave?
It's off by 1 second because I PB'd by a second in a race, but yeah, like getting 11 seconds off of it.
This is close to PB then.
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know, I mean, my chapter 4 was disastrous, man. But I did have a ILPB for chapter 6. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, hey, good job.
Thanks. And there's still like a stupid death there, so it's all good. Or what happened, man?
I had a pretty bad 4 as well. It was like 30 seconds off my best or something.
Man. Yeah, you know, I can't get over the race nerves sometimes, dude. I just can't, but it's all good.
I think I was observing this a lot through commentary, but both of you seemed remarkably composed a lot of times. Like there were slight goofs, but they would very quickly be repaired. It seemed like you both had a very strong presence of mind a lot of the time.
Maybe.
Hey, I appreciate it. You know,
they disagree with me. I think so. This is speedrunner mentality right here. Is they always don't think highly of themselves.
It's just like you can't allow yourself to get flustered no matter what, because then you just start playing bad.
I think we showed that today.
I think there was one point in Golden Ridge where I was getting a little frustrated with myself, just with how I was playing, and so I just told myself, just stop, calm down, and
dude, just wait till you see mine. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Your play looked calm at any rate, if that makes you feel any better.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah, again, GG's, man. Awesome race.
That was a really good race.
Thank you, too, for your time. If you wish to follow the racers, you may follow them at those links that have been posted in the chat. If you wish to follow the person who just talked over people playing video games for 30 minutes, my channel is also in the chat. Thank you all for watching.
And thank you for commentating.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
I think there may be another Celeste race still going on Speed Gaming 6. No, this is 6.
This is
5.
6,
I want
yeah.
5. Yes, if you want to see more Celeste, there may still be another race going on that. I'm not tremendously sure. But thank you all for watching, and good night. I click episode